Hello everyone, this is a video lecture for objective 4 and 5 in chapter 4. So this video lecture is going to be quite qualitative because of the nature of these two objectives. So first we are going to take a look at the lean operations. The second we are going to study the total quality management. So the lean operations, from the name you probably can guess already, okay, it's going to be very lean and no much fat. So that's kind of idea here. So, and traditional production system is we try to keep large inventories on hand because most of the business people they are very scared of losing customers due to the very low stock inventory level and maybe stock out or back order, all these issues. But in the meantime, there are also some problems because whenever you have large inventories in your warehouse, you have to pay for the storage cost. Okay, storage cost. There are also high quality here, and maybe bottlenecks and obsolete products. So there are all kinds of costs and also wastes, and you have to pay a lot of insurance as well, right? And maybe if it's about the electronics, high tech company, high tech products. Just a couple of months, your competitors may have more advanced technology, more advanced equipment or electronics on the market. In that case, you have a lot of out-of-dated products in your warehouse still waiting for being sold. So if that's the case, then you're going to lose a lot of money. So having a large inventories on hand is definitely not a very good idea. So one of the solutions is can we have a lean production system? Can we have lean production system? So the lean thinking is pretty simple here. So basically try to eliminate the waste and the cost. So like just in time. So we purchase raw materials just in time for production. So when I have an order, I'm going to purchase raw materials. Then I'm going to complete my manufacturing. So I have a just in time. And also I finish goods just in time for delivery. I only deliver the products when I receive an order. Okay, just in time. Okay, so I kind of try not to have a lot of inventory, and instead I'm going to wait for my customers. Okay, for my customer, I'm going to respond quickly to their orders, to their demands. Okay, apparently you probably can guess a lot of issues already. So there may be some drawbacks to lean production systems, which we often say. For example, the vulnerable is a very vulnerable system when problems strike suppliers or distributors. Because you highly rely on the suppliers. If you do the just in time, what if your suppliers cannot deliver the raw materials on time? What if the suppliers face financial difficulties or maybe natural disasters that suppliers cannot send the products, raw materials to you that you can complete your manufacturing process? And also distributors. If the distributors have issues, you cannot get your products delivered on time to the customers, which can cause more problems down the road. So for example, like I list some of it already, delays in delivery, union strikes, and shortage batch due to recalled products, and weather-related issues like Houston area and also the Florida. Maybe if your suppliers in these areas, you may have trouble. Okay, so these are the issues about the lean production systems. So there are some solutions to that. I'm not going to mention too much because that's not going to be the focus of this chapter. And this learning objective 4 has only a few slides. Well, solutions to that is basically you cannot always try to say, okay, I'm going to go to the lean all the time. You may want to have some building some slack, some buffer, so that you can allow you to respond to some unexpected situations. And also when you come to the suppliers, try to have multiple suppliers. Of course that will raise the cost, but the good thing is if say one supplier cannot fulfill your expectation, at least you have the other two suppliers that you can rely on. And also distributors, same thing. You may have several distributors in your list and you use all of them, and if one cannot handle your work, and the other two can step in and help you. Okay, so there are some issues, some solutions you can build into that. Okay, build into your system so that you can resolve any challenges or deal with any challenges if you do have some unexpected situations. Alright, so next I'm going to talk about the cost of quality framework, which is total quality management. So in in this country, at least in the US, okay, so the customer service is extremely important. Most customers are very picky, and the marketing is very, very competitive, fierce, okay, fierce. So the total quality management is kind of idea proposed by many people, and they try to say, okay, can we provide customers with superior products and services? And also the idea is we are going to continuously improving the system, okay, and also more investment upfront to generate the savings in the back end of the value chain. Okay, so basically it's not free. You have to pay money. Okay, you have to pay money to do that. But you try to provide a customer with superior products and services so that you can retain these customers. Because if your competitors actually provide such kind of a high quality of customer and product services, then maybe your customers will leave you and join them, okay, will become their customers. So you want to make sure your customers are still very loyal to you, and they are going to stay with you. Then you have to pay some of these costs to make sure that, okay, I'm going to generate savings, okay, that's basically my goal, okay, and but I have to pay some investment, okay. So there are 4 different types of quality costs in order to fulfill this so-called total quality management. The first one is you can see the prevention cost. Avoid poor quality goods or services before even they leave your factory. So there are a few things. For example, you want to train your employee correctly and make sure you have improved materials from good suppliers, and preventive maintenance, make sure all the factory, machines and all these things. So you can see that there are 3 examples we list there, but there are many. Okay, employee training, improved materials from suppliers, preventive maintenance, and appraisal cost. So we try to detect the poor quality goods or services still before you deliver them to your customers. So you want to inspect them throughout production, and also look at the final products, do the test inspection. Okay, so you want to do all these things before you label them for sale, before you deliver them to your customers. So prevention cost and appraisal cost, they normally happen within your factory still, okay. So next one is internal failure cost. So this is actually pretty much happening in your marketing part. So avoid poor quality goods or services before delivery to customers. So basically, your products or maybe your services are ready to be provided to your customers. Okay, for products, they have left your factory already. Now they are in a finished goods inventory. Now they are handled by the marketing department. For services, yes, you're about to provide a service to customers. You have done enough, preparation. Now you're going to work with the customers to finish the services. So there are some issues of production cost caused by downtime and rejected product units, all these issues. So you might want to make sure these are the things you want to pay attention to. Okay, maybe the customer will reject your product units. Okay, these kind of things. The last one is we call the external failure cost. So incurred after defective product is delivered. So maybe your customers will receive the products and they are defective. Customers are very mad. So basically, you're going to lose your customers very likely if you don't handle that appropriately. And also, of course, you lose profits. And sometimes you have to repair them to provide a warranty, right? Warranty. And sometimes you do have the, customer size that you're going to bring technician to their home or their house or maybe office to fix the problems, okay? And sometimes sales returns due to quality problems. So external failure costs are normally extremely high. So that's the last thing you want to do. Okay, Okay. So also there are some. You can see that there are some non-manufacturing costs of quality. Okay, compared to manufacturing companies, the service firms and merchandising companies, they have a little bit different things here. Okay, so first of all, they can do professional training to their staff and develop standards, the service checklist, appraisal cost, review work continuously and inspect before releasing. Okay, so these are the issues quite for the merchandising and the service companies. Okay, quite different from manufacturing companies. Manufacturing companies have more different categories, but for the service and the merchandising company, they normally have a very simplified value chain and also procedures, business operations. Because of that, they have relatively simple cost of quality here. Okay. So, what is the cost of quality report? So typically, you have to identify, categorize, and quantify all of the cost it incurs relating to quality. Okay, so most of the companies, they're going to come up with the analysis, and you calculate the percentage of the total cost of quality that are incurred in each cost category. Sometimes use a framework for decision. Okay, so this is very typical. You have a prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost, and somehow you have all these arrows. Okay, to help you understand, should I invest more on the prevention cost, or maybe the current prevention costs are good enough, and things like that. So this example give you quite a good idea here. So let's take a look at this company. So this manufacturing company is called Global Fitness, and in the end of fiscal year, they gave the so-called cost of quality report. Okay, then they categorize into they categorize all the costs into the 4 categories. They have prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, and external failure cost, which are very standard. And first of all, you don't have to do everything. For example, for this company, maybe they believe employee training is required, and they don't want to do other things, which is fine. And they look at the cost here. And also they have appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost, which we have all of them here. You can see that we don't really use all the lists of the costs. I just showed you in prior slides. Actually, we use only some of them, which is perfectly fine. You don't have to use all the all the listed items that we have just introduced. You can just pick 1 or 2. If you think employee training is important under the prevention cost, that's fine. If you think testing is very important under the appraisal cost, that's fine. Okay, you don't have to force yourself to use more unless you see the benefits of that. Then if you look at their cost and the total cost of quality, then you look at the percentage wise, you can see that wow, the external failure cost actually is a whole lot. Okay, so that can be very problematic because of external failure cost normally indicates that you have not done enough in your manufacturing, prevention, and before the products being delivered. Okay, so maybe that give you some idea. I should probably focus on more on these first 3 categories before I deliver my goods, deliver the products to the customers. Okay, so that's kind of interesting percentage analysis here. So now let's take a look at this particular example here to give you some idea. So Klassen Corporation manufactures the radiation shielding glass panels. Suppose Klassen is considering spending the following amounts on a new total quality management program. So they have a few things. They have 4 activities here, okay, and they want to do the strength testing 1 item for each batch of panels, okay, and they want to train their employees, train suppliers, and identifying preferred suppliers that commit to on-time delivery of perfect quality materials. And by doing that, the Klassen expects the new program to save costs. So now we see the benefits, right, through the following. So there are a few benefits here. The benefits you can see here is avoid lost profits from lost sales due to disappointed customers, and avoid rework and spoilage, and avoid inspection of raw materials, avoid warranty costs. There are all kinds of different categories. And there are 2 requirements under this question. Let's classify each item as a prevention cost, an appraisal cost, an internal failure cost, or an external failure cost. And should Klassen implement the new quality program? Give you a reason. Okay. So it should not be that difficult. If you go back to the prior slides, see that when we introduce all these prevention costs and appraisal cost and internal failure, external failure, you probably have some good idea already. So for the prevention cost, you avoid poor quality goods or services, and even before the production, right? the appraisal cost is somehow during the production, what are you trying to do? And internal failure cost is before delivery but after production. External failure is after actually sales even. So these 4 categories give you pretty good ideas how we are going to classify whatever costs into these 4 types. All right, so if I take a look at all these, what do we have here? I would say training employees in TOQ, that's very important because that's before the production, right? I want to make sure that my employees are well trained, they're aware of that. And training suppliers, very important. Suppliers provide materials, raw materials. Identifying preferred suppliers that are committed to on-time delivery of perfect quality materials. Perfect. For the stress testing one item from each batch of panels, this is probably after production already. So therefore, I would say we do have prevention cost. Okay. So we have training employees in TOQ and training suppliers in TQM, and training suppliers in TQM, and identifying preferred suppliers who commit to on-time delivery of perfect quality materials. So you can see that the prevention costs actually include, I would say, these 3 categories. So you can add these costs together if you want. Okay. So in this case, we have a 23,000 plus 34,000 plus 51,000. Okay. So the prevention cost is going to be the following. Okay, as the previous slide shows, you can add 23,000, then plus 34,000, then plus 51,000. Okay, so that will give you the total prevention cost. Okay, so pretty easy calculation. I think the result is going to be let me see, 57 plus 51. I would say 1,000,000 and 8,000. Okay, 1,008,000. Okay, so that's your prevention cost here. All right. So do we have an appraisal cost? Okay, do we have an appraisal cost? I think yes, we do. The appraisal cost is normally during the production. Okay, during the production, we have the following. Okay. Following here. Okay, so you have a stress testing one item from each batch of panels, avoid inspection of raw materials. So basically, if you look at all the activities involved here, so the stress testing one item from each batch of panels, okay, during your production, okay, that's appraisal cost definitely. And because you have training your supplier, identify supplier, and stress testing, whatever, you actually indeed help with avoid inspection of raw materials. So you have basic cost saving, avoid inspection of raw materials, 49,000 sitting here, 49,000 sitting here. So actually, the appraisal cost actually shows some benefits here. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to probably use 62,000 to minus 49,000. Okay. So we have a 62,000. That's your cost, and also because you avoid some cost, you have cost saving here, right? Which is 49,000. Okay. So the result is the appraisal cost is going to be the change is going to be 13,000. Okay. So now let's take a look at internal failure cost. Okay, internal failure cost, because you implement the new TQM program, so you can actually avoid the rework, okay, and spoilage. Okay, that's a internal failure cost. So the rework spoilage is basically after manufacturing, you do have to do some testing. So and before you send your packages, send your products to the customers. So that's called internal failure cost. So rework and spoilage is definitely one of them. Okay. So in that case, actually internal affiliate cost, you actually save quite much. Okay, save quite much. I would say you have saved. Let me put the parentheses here to show you actually it's a negative number. It's saving. So you have saved 66,000. 66,000. Okay, 66,000. All right, so finally you have an external affiliate cost sitting here, and because of that you can avoid warranty costs. Okay, you can avoid lost profits from lost sales due to disappointed customers. So if you go back to the question information, yes, we do have two categories here related to external failure, because that's about when you deliver your products to your customers, right? There are some costs involved, and you may have lost profits, but you can avoid that by this much, and also you can avoid warranty cost. So I would say you're going to have a cost saving of 85,000 and 25,000. So what I'm going to have is the external affiliate cost is going to be 85,000. Okay, then plus. Oh, sorry. So that because the saving was a negative number, so you're looking at a 25,000 warranty saving. So the result is going to be a million, right? Oh, sorry, 110,000. I think probably I made a mistake in the prior slide. I should not have a million. It should be sorry, should be 108,000. Okay. So now you have categorized all these costs. Okay. To the four types. Okay, four types. So we have finished the first one. So the second requirement is we need to answer if the class should implement the new quality program, and give you a reason. So I think it's pretty clear. So I don't want to make this question complicated because there are some other non-quantitative, non-financial considerations. Let's assume that this is purely quantitative question, and because of that assumption, we can definitely use a cost of benefit to analyze. So is cost will the benefits exceed the cost? So that's our question. So how to find out? Well, we do have some additional cost, right? We do have some savings. So all we have to do is look at which one is bigger. Okay. So if I come to this the last page, what's happening here is for the prevention cost we have 108,000, right? Then we have 13,000 appraisal cost, and we have 66,000 internal failure costs. That's actually cost saving. Then we also have 110,000 cost saving here. I think the result is going to be less than zero for sure. Okay, less than zero for sure. So basically, the answer is you have a lot of cost saving. So I would say the benefits is bigger than the cost. Okay, so I would recommend this company, okay, Klassen, to implement. Okay. So that's the question. Here. Okay. All right. So I hope this video lecture is kind of nice and give you a pretty good idea about the link production as well as the quality management. And just make sure you can do some basic things. You don't have to get in a lot of details. The focus in this chapter is still activity-based costing and activity-based management. So that's the key. And I hope you enjoy this video lecture, and see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.